Today we're at Wakulla Springs. There's a lodge behind me. Pretty neat place, built in 1937, I think. So let's go see what's up here. By the way, this is Jeff at Retired and Winging It. Headed to the park, which is about 15 miles south of Tallahassee, Florida. Here's the entrance, Edward Ball, Wakulla Springs State Park. The lodge and springs are about 1.5 miles from the park entrance. Coming up on the ranger station now. I believe we paid $6 to enter, and that's probably per carload. Let's take a look at the lodge that Ball had built in 1937, which is a reminder of old Florida with its 1930s Spanish style, period furniture, original elevators, and colorful painted ceilings. The lodge features 27 guest rooms, a restaurant, a soda fountain, a gift shop, and is in pretty much the same condition as it was when built in 1937. It also features Old Joe, which is an alligator that was in the park for years and years and years, and unfortunately somebody killed Old Joe, and there's the $5,000 reward is still open because they've never caught who was responsible for that. They've got pictures of the park in the old bays, pictures of wildlife, other things along the wall. There's Old Joe. There's actually a Old Joe Jr. in the park now. There were a few movies filmed in the park, Creature of the Black Lagoon being one of them. Some Tarzan movies. There used to be a Tarzan tree that if you saw it, you would. If you've seen any of the Tarzan movies, you would know what palm tree I'm talking about. Him standing on, doing the Tarzan yell. But it used to be pretty cool to see that tree during the boat tour. but unfortunately it was blown down during one of the hurricanes. This is an aerial view of the springs. In the soda fountain and gift shop, there's a marble countertop that's the longest east of the Mississippi River at just over 70 feet long. Now we're getting ready for the boat tour. There's a little model of one of the boats. I think the boat tours are about 45 minutes and they run on the hour pretty much all day. And we were on the last one at 5 o'clock. This is a good depiction of the underwater tunnels and caves underneath Wakulla Springs. They've been traveled through by a lot of people throughout the years. Explored is what I was looking for. There's groups that explore the caves a lot. The Creature from the Black Lagoon was filmed at Wakulla Springs, at least parts of it, and a lot of the old Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan movies were filmed there. The rest of the tour is the boat tour, and I'm not going to narrate because the tour guide did such a great job. We saw so many different things. This was the longest one I've been on because of all the different things we saw. Lots of alligators and even a manatee. So I'm going to let you listen to the ranger, and we'll pick up at the end.
Show of thumbs. Is this thing working? Can you all hear me okay? Awesome. First thing I want to do is welcome you all to Wakulla Springs. Thank you all for being here. This is easily the best part of my job, and it is something that I only get to do. Oh, we got a gator already. We got a gator on the left. Y'all on the right can stand if you like. And that's the tour. We're heading back to the dock. Thank you guys very much for coming. Oh man, that's right. I forget there people experienced the actual trauma of that earlier. We had to cancel a boat right after we left the dock. So we had a couple of lightning strikes touch down in the park. That's honestly is one of the worst parts of the job, is having to tell people that you're not going to show them the river. Glad you guys were able to make it onto a later boat. Just kick back, relax. How many of y'all have taken the tour before by show of hands? Oh man, I'm not going to be able to make up near as much stuff as I normally do. That's alright, y'all just nod knowingly when I start talking about the skunk ape or the cottonmouth rattlegator, alright? Don't sell me out. Oh, gator hanging out with all those turtles. It's interesting to note that turtles account for about 50% of the average alligator's diet, and yet here they are all hanging together. Goes to show that everybody's friends out here till it's dinner time. And even then, it's nothing personal. There are no enemies out here. Everybody's just trying to make a living. It begins, as far as I'm concerned. This is where we lose sight of the lodge, the beach, the dive tower. From here on out, it's just us and the river. This is how Florida appeared to its original indigenous inhabitants centuries ago. This is the real Florida, like the sign says out front. Got a great egret up ahead on the left. Haven't seen one of those guys in a while, that tall white bird. We'll get a little bit closer. And anywhere we look from here on out, we might see an alligator. So you guys up front, I'll be watching y'all's fingers. If you spot one before I do, don't be shy, go ahead and point. Let's see, is that great egret still there on the left? Awesome, second tallest bird on the Wakulla River. He thinks he's going to catch a fish, but he's not. They have a 100% failure rate. I've never seen an egret catch or eat anything. For all I know, they live off of gas station hot dogs, because they certainly don't eat fish. If you like, man, he got himself a big one. Thinks we're going to take it away from him. It's cool, buddy. It's cool. That, it's like, yeah, that's my fish, y'all. I'm gonna go eat it over here. Smartest thing out here, though, their diet is almost entirely crawfish, which makes them pretty smart by my standards. We're coming up on our dry dock on the right. That's the shortest railroad in Wakulla County. It's where these boats go when they need a little bit of love. We call it the ways, because it's a ways down the river. What passes for ranger humor. We're not terribly imaginative people. Now you guys up front, I'm looking for a gator on the right. Y'all tell me if she's still hanging out there. She's so reliable.
There she is.
Yep, right there.
Still have babies on her back?
Yep.
I'll back us up just a hair. Oh, we got a little guy watching us. Try and back us up kind of quietly. Don't want to hurt those babies. Tell me that's not the cutest thing you ever saw. This here is a miracle of engineering, guys. Alligators have hardly changed in the last 80 million years because they haven't needed to. You can track their evolutionary line about 250 million years back. Alligators can hold their breath up to 2 hours. They can lower their heart rate to 1 beat a minute. They can go up to 6 months without eating. Anything you've ever heard of a Shaolin monk being able to do outside of a village called Ayute. And now it's home to some of the happiest alligators in North America, spoiled rotten in a wildlife sanctuary. When you look into this clearing, it's going to be hard not to imagine how perfect life was on this river once upon a time. All the fresh water you could drink, all the alligators you could eat. Gator on the right next to us.
Oh yeah, he's underneath there. He just came up. Yeah.
There's a lot of them moving
They
today.
caught him napping.
I don't see him.
By the looks of it, he's been on the bottom of the river for a while. Like I said, they can hold their breath up in 2 hours. Something I want to do for you guys that I learned from one of the old-time boat captains, Jeff Hicks. We called Jeff the mayor of Wakulla Springs while he was here, little gator on the right. Taught me a lot about being a park ranger, but the best thing he taught me about driving these boats cut the engine, and if we're quiet for just a little bit, we can hear a little bit of what this river sounds like when we're not around, and you guys will humor me. Thank you guys for humoring me. So we've gone about 1.5 miles as promised. We're going to start heading back upriver. Little blue heron up ahead. Before we turn around, I want to talk a little bit. Oh, we got another gator on the right as well. No one has been permitted past the turnaround for over 60 years, except for park biologists. Twice a year, Patty goes out in a canoe to conduct a wildlife survey, but aside from her and her predecessors, the animals out there, they've never seen a human being, they've never heard an engine turn over. It's a big part of why I'm proud to work here. Almost 7,000 acres of this park, most of it not only off limits to y'all, it's off limits to us too, unless we got a real good reason for going. That out there is $1 million view, guys. Only cost you $8. Buy for 12 and under. Good eye there, sir. Might see some turtles on the right. There's often some yellow belly sliders hanging out in this stretch. So named presumably because they have yellow bellies and they slide. There's one. If one of these guys waves at you, it's bad luck not to wave back. So learn your manners as we go. Distinctly masculine features, and I've never gotten over that straight-faced description of manatees, or the idea of a disappointed Christopher Columbus wondering where the Hoplins are at. Right behind that Anhinga there, still not coming up. They'll hold their breath 2 to 5 minutes. This one clearly intends to make us wait the full 5. And spinning another donut and turning around. Oh my god, the anticipation is killing me. I'm getting a stomach ache. Please.
Ahora se lo estoy agarrando en vivo. Mira,
Just
mira, míralo aquí en mi cámara.
Just let us see these distinctly masculine features of yours.
Where you guys looking at?
Man, Hinka just keeps trying to get the picture. Like, what about me? I love you, Mr. Van Hinka, but you're not a manatee. People are here for manatees.
Wow, what a stubborn thing. Keep moving its
Yep.
feet.
No, she's absolutely teasing us.
Figures everybody goes in reverse.
Oh my God, here we go. Here we go.
No.
Oh my God.
Somebody take her oxygen.
Sir, you'll have to drive us back. I'm just going to jump in the river at this point.
Waiting us out.
Oh my God.
She's waiting us
I
out.
feel like I'm going to remember this day for a very long time. We will continue to reverse.
Viene para acá, ¿ves? Viene para acá.
Pero no quiere salir a respirar. Necesitamos verle la cabeza. Que te...
I've heard of some strange festivals down here. During racing and everything in reverse.
Coming up. Here we go. There it is.
Pop the champagne. We did
Just a little tease.
Isn't another one?
it. All right. Where's Danielle? If you're not looking at Johnny Weissmuller, it's a recording of it. Or you're watching the Carol Burnett show. It does kind of beg the question, if no other Tarzan could do the Tarzan yell, but Carol always could, why was she never chosen to play Tarzan? Filming carried on out here in the 1970s. Movies like Airport 77, Joe Panther, and other movies you've never heard of as well. Movies like Night Moves, starring Gene Hackman, directed by Arthur Penn. A brilliant neo-noir detective film that unfortunately came out the same week as Jaws. That's why you never heard of Night Moves. Roger Ebert loved it, nobody else cared. Speaking of Jaws, Steven Spielberg was so inspired by the most famous film shot here, not only did he steal scenes from The Creature from the Black Lagoon, he even required all of his interns to watch it if they wanted to work on his picture. He thought it had set the standard in underwater cinematography. He believed it to be one of the best horror films of all time. It starred a fellow named Rico Browning as the gill man. Rico had been a lifeguard here at Wakulla Springs in the 40s. He'd gone on to Wiki Watchy to help develop the mermaid shows. He went from mermaid to gill man and nothing flat when the original actor, Glenn Strange, backed out at the last minute, citing a fear of alligators he was previously unaware he possessed. Rico stepped in and began a film career that lasted decades, primarily as a marine cinematographer and marine stuntman. He was also a writer, a director, the creator of Flipper. When Rico passed away last year, he was the last of the Universal Monsters, 93 years old. According to his final wishes, his ashes are scattered here in Wakulla Springs. You guys are fans of the film, we'll be doing an outdoor screening of The Creature October 26th, part of our Spooky Spring celebration. You can see it under the stars the way it was meant to be seen. Oh, big old gator there behind us. Looking down up on the bank. I promised I wouldn't back up anymore. Do you have any last gators hanging out on the left? Ahead of us. Waiting for the spring to close. People to go home.
He's waiting for dinner.
So this puts us out into the spring bowl. This is the largest freshwater spring in the world. It produces 400,000 gallons of water on average every minute. Enough to fill a swimming pool every 6 seconds. enough to fill the entire Grand Canyon in just over 87 years. All 1.4 quintillion gallons of its capacity. The mouth of the spring is 180 feet underneath the dive tower. Tall and wide as a 4-lane highway. There's a little bit of subtle gator wrangling there. Just like to get them moving in the right direction. Closing time it for another hour. It is archaic. A financier is someone whose sister marries a DuPont. And then he dies rich too. He built the lodge to impress his friends, intimidate his enemies. He installed every fine feature he could imagine. But the most interesting feature of the lodge is the final resting place of Old Joe the alligator. Lived on that island on the left for what locals said was 200 years, and he never harmed a man, woman, child, or pet. Half of that is true. Gators don't actually live that long. We know that now. But however many gators there, or how many old Joes there have been down the years, the most famous one was killed by a poacher in 1966. Left on the bottom of the river, Ed Ball was furious. He had him stuffed and mounted and put on display. The gator, not the poacher. We never did. That reward, in fact, is still up for grabs. If you happen to know who killed Old Joe, or if you convincingly frame someone for having killed Old Joe, got another gator. Man, everybody wants to be the last gator of the tour. You guys took the time out of your day to visit the park and support the Springs. Thank you all so much for being here. Thanks for letting me show you the river. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that was Wakulla Springs Lodge, boat tour, and restaurant. Pretty cool place. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Jeff out.